Hello. I'm Danny. Me and colors here, we've been working on this live twin sprite build that we're actually pretty proud of. I've been doing very well locally recently with it. We've got a lot of interesting numbers and some interesting tech choices that we're kind of excited to share with you all if you're watching. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing you'll notice is I'm starting with Sprite Jet. Uh, in this build, we feel he's the most important one to the point where we're actually playing three Jet, two Blues. Uh, Blue's very good, and it's most lists you're gonna see are playing three. It's a great card, obviously. But what happened was I entered an event and hadn't gotten the all my blues yet. I only had one, but I still decided to enter because I wanted to play. But I realized there was never a game where I actually needed a second blue. I was always able to get it when I needed it. So I was able to determine that you don't really need second blue is or a third blue, as weird as that sounds, despite how good the card is.
So
Uh,
if you weren't on a budget, there is a chance that you would experiment with three blue though.
Maybe experiment, but like it felt really good just having two, and also yeah, there's the bonus of it saves me another 85 bucks. Like I could afford another blue, but I kind of feel strongly about this. Like you don't need the third. Don't spend the money if you really don't feel like it. Two blue is just enough. Two red cards, insane. Lets you play through literally everything. And one carrot. Just good to search out. It's really good, like if you don't draw the twins and you just have to make a board of sprites. You
And
just
if you draw like multiple sprites, then you can use your extra searches on carrot, and
Yep.
it hits enough.
Yeah. Someone in my local area was playing Sprite Pixies. Don't play Pixies. Just don't. Anyway, those are the sprites. Tight little core there. And cutting one blue down to two gives us room to do some creative stuff here. So onto the live ones, we're playing three Loa, three key skill, one key skill Frost, and one Loa Treat. So I'm playing the full package of starters along with both extenders. It's because I like no matter which one I draw, if they hand trap your initial one, I want to be able to Sunny Snitch for the extender and just be able to go off that way. Aside from that, something that's like Lilla Treat, like I see a lot of people just not play this card, and I get it, but the important thing I've noticed that your end board is so good that every tiny piece of more interaction you're able to stack on top of your already busted interaction makes it just that much more insurmountable for your opponent. So even an effect like, shrinking a monster down to 1100 is still good enough a lot of the times.
Like access code attacking twice.
Yes, I did in fact win a match because my opponent on Salads did the whole access code, give it the ability to attack twice, popped the rest of my board, attacked into my evil twin, and I was like, all right, Lilitreat, banish it, shrink your access code, and then like I was just able to kill him on the next turn. Just every little piece that lets you like make it to the next turn while disrupting your opponent and like making it so they have as few resources going into your next turn, like matters so much. Like Lilith, like Kisco Frost, obviously very good, just get you to draw a card, higher chance to hit a hand trap. But Lilith like it's been very good and also just general extension purposes. And to round out the twin package, we play the one main deck, Evil Twins, Key Skill, and Loa. It's obviously just be sent by Trouble Sunny. I think people need to be making Trouble Sunny more than they are. Uh, Trouble Sunny is still really good. And in this build, you make Trouble Sunny more often. We'll get to that in a bit. It's a bit spicy. And just real quick, run up monsters. Hand traps, 3 Ash, 2 Ogre, because you really want to hit a lot of things actually. Sprite, Gigantic, Flow Underease Field Spell.
We got the new Teal Field spell. And
And it's not good.
honestly,
It's not good against tiers. It comes out against tiers, but like,
honestly, I ogred Draco Stapelia from Tearments, and that was pretty good.
sure, yeah, like there's some things you can hit in the matchup. It's still not that good. I usually side it out, but Ogre's been pretty impressive so far. Like I said, like the end board of this deck is so powerful that any disruption you can stack on top of what you already have always ends up mattering. And then 2 Crow, just one of the best hand traps this format. So good, actually. I need to get a second Ultra. And 1 Imperm. This was a holdout from when we were playing Crossout. More on that in a bit. But it's still good. Imperm's just a very good card. Sometimes you just play 1 and it gets your opponent. Alright, so that was the monsters and hand traps. On to the spells. 3 Sprite Starter. Fairly basic. I was playing 2, but because this build's so reliant on Jet, I discovered that like if I opened like a starter plus Smasher, I would run out of targets for my Jet pretty quickly, and Jet's like a big part of the card advantage. So I just decided to play the 3rd copy.
But definitely playable.
Yeah, definitely playable with 2. You don't need a 3rd. I mean, it's one of the it's not too expensive, but like yeah, you can't just play it with 2. All right, and 2 copies of Sunny Snitch. A lot of people you'll see on either like 3 or 0, some are on 1. We are on 2 because we're actually on 4 because we play 2 Sunny Snitch, 2 secret passwords to search Sunny Snitch. And the reason this ratio is so good is your best draws all come off of starting with a live twin in your open hand. This ratio of the 6 live twin starters plus these making your total starter count up to 10, which is 25% of your deck. It's really consistent. And if you want to maximize starting with twin plus jet. And because twin plus jet gets you everything.
We
But
should also
secret
add
pass.
that we're not on the frog package, so we can dedicate a little bit more of the main deck space.
Oh, that is correct. I should mention that. Yes, we are not playing frogs. Frogs are good if you can find room. You can play them and they're very strong. I don't think they're necessary. The deck's already good enough as is at fighting, like with the negates and disruption that it has. You don't have to end on Toad. In fact, I think you make like some boards like a bit weaker by having Toad only because Toad plus Elf is just like this self-contained thing that you sort of bend over backwards to make. And it can be outed by a few cards like Ultimate Slayer. Ultimate Slayer in particular, actually. But I just think that you don't need the Toads. I mean,
I just want to correct you on that. Ultimate Slayer doesn't immediately out it because you can't Ultimate Slayer the Toad because Elf points to it. But it does if you go all in.
If they're on the Trouble Sunny package, which again we'll get into.
If you go all in on the Toad package, it does leave you a bit vulnerable to like Dark Rules and such.
Again, the reason we're playing Secret Password instead of like a 3rd Snitch in Secret Password is because we're playing 1 copy of Evil Twin Challenge. This card is insane, actually. I can't like sing its praises high enough. The amount of games that this card wins because it's in your deck. So what this does is it reborns a Kisco or a Lilla, then lets you link summon into an evil twin using monsters you control. So what often comes up is, Trouble Sunny is like the best, pound for pound the strongest card in the deck. But like you can't make it because you lock yourself into 2 so often. Well, what you do is you go turn 1, make your huge Sprite plus Evil Twin end board.
So usually that board looks like Elf, Red, Kisakil, and Lila, and a Gigantic sometimes.
Usually we lose the gigantic.
Okay, so let's say you have Elf, Red, Keyskill, Lila.
Yeah. So what you get is so at the end of that, if you have a leftover secret password, like if you didn't need to use this to go get this, if you already had a twin, you can use this to get the challenge and set challenge on your opponent's turn. You can flip up challenge to make Trouble Sunny on their turn while you still have the rest of your board. And Trouble Sunny's, Trouble Sunny's real good when you get her into play. Uh, Especially backed up with a monster gate in red, and if you put it in the zone that Elf is pointing to, so she cannot be targeted. Also, this card lets you fight through like key piece of disruption. Like I have had opponents go second and open Dark Ruler on me, Dark Ruler my board, and I go, okay, on res, flip Evil Twin Challenge, make Trouble Sunny. You at least have to fight through that plus my hand traps
Yeah,
now.
and you can make Trouble Sunny with the red too, right? So you can get
Yeah.
rid of
No,
your
so,
red.
yeah, what happened actually is someone would droplet me and they would activate a monster effect. I would chain red. They go activate droplet, send this and this. No one ever sends a trap. So you flip challenge, then you can link off sending the red, so you still get the negate because droplet can no longer hit it because it's no longer on the board. And now you make a trouble sunny. It's probably gonna get negated by the droplet, but like you get your negate off. You still have like disruption now. There's just an extra piece of cardboard on the board because what you often do is you just summon like whatever live twin you started with, and then you can just like have it in defense mode, just like an extra piece of disruption. As long as you go into your next turn with any level two, you're good to full combo, pretty much.
And just real quick about that Dark Ruler, you can challenge, link away your red and your some of your Dark Ruler live twins, and then
Yep.
have
Yeah.
stuff
It
available.
also was relevant against a Mystic Mine because they put one monster out, and I just on their turn linked everything away for Trouble Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
So, like they couldn't put down another monster, and then oh, rather no, it was end step. I was able. They had one monster, and I did Evil Twin Challenge, make Trouble Sunny. And I have one
During the end
monster
step.
now, and it outed the mine. And I just was able to fight from there. So yeah, super good card. Highly recommend the secret password plus challenge stuff. It's so good. Just like again, cannot sing its praises higher. I'm really happy with us finding that tech. Play the one smasher, super good. Out Mystic Mine, you gotta play the one main deck. Out's a lot of things actually. It's just so good. You generate too much cardboard. The downside of it, banishing your own thing, just doesn't come up. It can be used to like dodge stuff
Like
if
Droplet.
yeah, droplet. Just really good card. One feather duster. I just don't like losing to like back row. Like if someone just goes like a normal deck and then they still just set two, I'm like, okay, I'll hit two imperms or an imperm plus a called by and then try to go off. Oh, good enough. I just like main decking it. It's just a solid card. You can side it out if it's like less good. Now for the heat here, two Ultimate Slayers, main deck. And just to include in that, one Droplet and one Dark Ruler. Uh, this one Dark Ruler is sort of, and one Droplet is sort of a holdover of when we were running Cross out.
Yeah, I think
I,
I my initial thought is the one imperm could be replaced by second Dark Ruler.
yep,
But this is just an answers package. You can tweak the numbers accordingly.
yeah, but I highly recommend double Ultimate Slayer because, as we'll get to in the extra deck, we are playing two copies of Trouble Sunny, and so that means you can still make a Trouble Sunny and then still like be able to send one off Ultimate Slayer. It's so good against any link decks. It's so important in the mirror match if you have to go second. Drop it. Drop is just a good card. Dark Ruler. Sometimes you just sack them, bro. Just open Dark Ruler, going second, and
I
like
was playing against Plunderees the other day, and you'll never guess what they opened going second. Ultimate Slayer, Harpy's Feather Duster, Dark Ruler.
pretty good.
Pretty good.
But yeah, Droplet. It's like Droplet's actually. If I had to like cut the Dark Ruler, I might play a second Droplet. Droplet's just so good because like you just go normal twin. They try and do anything to it. You go, all right, chain, send the twin, send something in my hand, negate two things, still summon the other twin, get that twin's effect. It's just really good. But Ultimate Slayer, like the amount of games you like, you play Ultimate Slayer because there are a large amount of games where if your opponent sets up a particular board and you activate it, the game ends on the spot. Like I played it, not the mirror match, but I played against Sprite Pure, and they had a relatively weak hand. But they still ended on Toad plus Elf, and I just top deck Ultimate Slayer. I'm like, oh okay, I just completely dealt with that. Send the Elf, sending Trouble Sunny effect,
and they have to
send Toad, then I get to full combo. And I'm a proponent of playing like a decent amount of going second, like power effects in the deck. Solely because your end board is so good that you'll win most games going first anyway. So you don't really need to worry too much. And one card back. What are you doing if you're not playing this card? Good card.
You should get a Prismatic Seeker rare.
Yeah, probably. All right, that is the main deck. And let's move on to the extra right now. Well, first things first, our lovely Field Center and Incineroar. All right, to start things off.
How much attack does that Incineroar have?
Not enough for Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 Gigantics, 2 Elf. Just the guys. Gigantic busted. Like, come on, this card's insane. Elf, similarly insane.
This is a free piece of cardboard.
It's an honorary evil twin because its effect is just the same as an evil twin. It also revives an evil twin. Speaking of which, we're on 2 of each, 2 Kisakil, 2 Lilla, and the reason this is so good and sort of the reason to play this version instead of pure, is because you get the option of like, so like, your end board and like they sort of break your board. Any starter gets you straight back into Elf. Elf summons pink. Pink can summon blue, or vice versa. You blue summon pink, whether you want to draw a card or pop a card. But Elf immediately gets you back both twins, and then you can immediately make Trouble Sunny. Or if you want to, you could. Oh, you actually cannot overlay for a Gigantic if you do this, though, because you're locked into Fiends if you did that line. So keep that in mind. That being said, still just making. Otherwise, you could just do this, link them, make a big Gigantic.
Right back into the game.
Yeah, Elf is insane, and like this deck grinds so well because like just the card advantage of drawing and popping every turn is so good. Like there are like matchups where you win just based off the fact that Keyskill drew 3 cards that game. Like one common one for that is Exorcister, where you both disrupt each other so much that you're sort of left with a very simplified game state.
Yeah, but they don't have any way to bring back cards from the graveyard. So once you
their card draw 1 is like whatever, and like Keyskill draws like 3 cards that game, and like that's how you just put it away. All right, so that's that package. Then we're on 2 Trouble Sunny, 1 to send to Ultimate Slayer, 1 to just make, and sometimes you just make 2. Sunny is fantastic, absolutely insane.
I mean, sometimes you just don't draw any sprites and or sprites.
Yeah, sometimes I don't open sprites, and instead of going into Gigantic, I'll just decide to make Trouble Sunny, because I'm like, I think I'm in a matchup where Trouble Sunny Pass is good enough, backed with like two hand traps. Or sometimes, just do the elf play into Trouble Sunny. Oh, a common one though is actually your Gigantic gets ashed, or your Gigantic gets impermed or veilered or something to that effect. And you're like, okay, well, I'm not locked into twos anymore, so backup plan, make Trouble Sunny plus like an elf.
Used to be the A plan of Pair of Evil Twins, but now
Yeah, it
I
used
guess
to be
it's
the A plan,
backup.
but like,
Well, I think
now
that is a good thing. If your
it
B
is a good
plan
thing because
used to
now
be an
what?
A plan, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and now we just like do so much more. Like it's to the point where I'm not sure how I was able to win with Trouble Sunny beforehand, but
Well, you're
we
playing
don't
with
think
Zeus
about
now.
that now. Deck is deck's busted now. For the flex slot, I play one copy of Underworld Goddess. This could be a unicorn if you want, but like I've just been really enjoying this card. It sort of like does everything you want. Uh, in like or not everything you want, but it does exactly what you want in specific scenarios. Like it just outs pretty much any problem. If there's like a math mech Sigma male, you can get rid of that. The uh, Kaleido Heart, you can goddess that. I mean, you can also hit that with Unicorn, but Underworld Goddess just you flood the board so much with sprites anyway, and Evil Twin was already the best deck in the game at making it, that this card, like, you can make it whenever you want, essentially. To, like, just out whatever you need to. Play one Entis. This could be a Garura. Just, you need some fusion to send off Ultimate Slayer. I chose Entis because, like, a lot of the times when I was sending Garura, the card draw was good. But I was like, man, if this were an Entis, I think the game would be over right now. So I just
You just turn your
decided to
Ultimate
put one
Slayer
Entis.
into like instead of a trap, it's a spell, dogmatic punishment with no
Yeah,
downside.
it's just insane. Especially because like it's just so good to draw Ultimate Slayer against any of the fusion decks, and you just like crush them. Also noted though, since we're only playing one, we can't double up on Ultimate Slayer, and Ultimate Slayer is not once per turn, as I found out. And lastly, Sky Knight, Downward Magician, Zeus. You could potentially cut Downward, but like it's just so like key. Like sometimes you just make Zeus and like you just win the game off that. Just very good card.
We're basically deciding to play the format Zeus package over another flex spot of a unicorn or possibly IP Masquerade.
Yep. And like some of those cards are good. IP is actually very good on the board. She just is a bit too difficult to make, was the issue.
It's like challenge fills that role most of the time,
Yeah.
and format Zeus just wins games straight
All
up.
right. And now for the side deck. I've done most of the side deck work myself. Colors mostly had input on the main deck, which was still very good, mind you. But I'm playing two Nib. Just don't want to lose to Rogue decks. Rogue decks can't beat Nib. That's how it is. One Gamma Seal. There's just enough stuff that like you're just like I just want a generic kaiju. I think if I just go second and have a generic kaiju, I just win the game against a few decks because once you get your twin plus sprite stuff off, you're just gonna win.
And if there's ever an uptick in Flunders, that could always be a Godarla.
Yeah, it could be a good Darla, but I like it right now, especially like hitting like stuff like the Kid Kaleido, Mathmech, Sigma Male, all of that stuff. And one copy of
Don't you
Nightmare
think
Corruptor
Mathmech
Ibli.
Final Ligma?
Yeah, you got me. One copy of Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. This card's insane because like against like a matchup like Tier, they're pretty powerful and explosive, especially like versions like the branded Tier version. So I was like, well, you really want to draw a side deck card against them, like D barrier. But the problem with D barrier is you have to draw D barrier. You don't have to draw Ibli. You're guaranteed to have Ibli in your normal combo. as long as you are able to get Gigantic Sprite off. Like the other day, I went Gigantic Sprite activate, and I had a pretty weak hand actually. But my opponent was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And I go summon Ibli, and it's like, wait a minute, what does that do?" Like, oh yeah, here, just take this. You can't fusion summon.
Not main phase one, at least.
Yeah, like even if they have to like expend their battle phase. Again, it gets them to expend their battle phase, which is often good enough because it means they can't out enough of your board to stop you when you play back on them when they pass turn.
Right, since generally you're gonna want to use battle to like battle down red or something like that.
Yeah, they have to use their battle phase. It's actually particularly good because the opponent had a uh, Pancratops in hand,
Right.
so they just couldn't summon it
Normally
because
that
she
would
says,
out like two things.
yeah, but they couldn't summon Pancratops before battle phase because they had to out the Ibli first.
Also, as you noted, this version of the deck grinds really well. So by forcing them to play for turn four, you're giving yourself like additional chances to
Yeah,
win.
like the Evil Twin version, we just grind so well that like if you just Ibli, it like half turn skips them. So like that's just so many cards we're already getting ahead of them on if they have to do that. See, that's it for the monsters. Two Twister, one Cyclone, one Reboot, Eldritch.
Is the
Yeah.
ratio of Twister to Cyclone a bit of a holdover from Crossout, or do you think there's legitimate reason to be playing
Sometimes I
both?
actually just want to bring in one Cyclone against like going first against like Adventure
Yeah,
maybe.
makes sense.
And like there's just some generic stuff where I'm like, I'll bring in one Cyclone, maybe they're on an anti-spell.
Yeah, Cyclone definitely feels a lot better side in going first, in my
And like I
opinion.
often just when I have Cyclone, I just want to bring in one. Twister means I mean it, so I want two.
Yeah,
And
makes
if I
sense.
mean it, it means I gotta pop a bunch of cards. Reboot, you draw and you win the game.
Yeah,
Uh, One Raigeki. This should be another Dark Ruler. That's my bad. I couldn't find my other copy, so I played a Raigeki. It was still good, but should be a Dark Ruler. Make note of that. Then on to some of the spice. Three mistaken arrests. I don't like Flunders.
so have you found this card to be useful in any matchup aside from Flunders?
Yeah. Good in a lot of matchups. If you just like if you go first to make a normal sprite board or like a normal evil twin board, then just set this against like a good like chunk of decks. Like because they already have to fight through your disruption anyway. If yet they have to do that with the inability to add cards to their hand, they're kind of screwed. Like I'll do this versus any adventure deck. I'll do this versus salads. I'll do this versus
Right.
Thunder, obviously.
Right,
Super
because
good
if
in
they
the
if they if they water enchantress add right to hand.
su-
Or actually no, you just chain to the water
yeah, I just
enchantress,
chain
don't
it.
you?
No,
Yeah.
it's busted. It's super good in the mirror match too if you go first,
Yeah.
because like they
Stop
just
if you even if you're against pure sprites, it stops blue and jet.
yeah subs blue and jet, which like it's pretty important when they're like down a few cards there.
It turns off their one card combos basically.
And 3D barrier. I don't know. This feels kind of lazy. I kind of wish these were something else. Maybe playing like Stitchy and Dirge, but like again, that's only good going first in the mirror.
I've been thinking about non-fusion area myself, or non-fusion zone, whatever it's called.
Like I don't think you need like that when you have Ibli is my
That's
thing.
fair.
Like I think Ibli is so good in the fusion matchups anyway that you
Yeah.
don't need to like do all that. D-Berry though, just generically good. If you go first and set it against a fusion deck or a Xyz deck or
Yeah, lights
against
out.
Sword Soul, like the game ends.
Yeah, because then your Key Kill is drawing you another two cards, and you're just not losing at that point.
Yeah, so that's the deck. Again, I think it might be just a tiny bit behind pure in power level, but the live twins again they just give you such great grinding potential.
And I'm sure there are just people out there who own live twins already.
Oh yeah, like, and if you own Live Twins and just want to play that, that's we can't compete with these decks fairly anymore. We had to step things up.
Well, I mean, if they own Live Twins, they want to play a good deck. This is a pretty good list, and you don't
Trouble
have
Sunny
to.
Pass doesn't get it done anymore, everybody.
Well, my point is that you don't have to buy the entire Splight deck. You only have to buy like 2/3 of the Splight deck.
Yeah, and real quick, just so I can just show a common end board. So usually my end board will look like I'll have one elf in the link zone.
Actually, can you show us how you get there? Like, let's say you
Yeah,
start
sure.
with a Lila or something.
Yeah, sure.
Beauty
I
of
guess I can show
Sprights.
the basic combo. So let's say we start with Lilla plus Jet. That's like the combo we talk about wanting to do the most. So summon Lilla, summons Keysco Frost, Jet from hand, we special add starter. So with that, or if like you have blue in hand, you can go blue, add so what you want to do here is then you activate starter. So let's say here in center column is here. So if center column is here, you actually want to be summoning it like this. Technically doesn't matter too much, but you do it like this. You summon your copy of with starter. You summon Sprite Red to zone here. Then you're going to overlay for Gigantic with your Jet. Gigantic effect, and you're now protected by red. So you contribute this Kisa kill to stop whatever play they have for it. And don't worry if you tribute this key skill, you will still be able to make both your live twins. So what we do now is we activate effect, detach, make sure to detach Lilla. And we do that to summon Sprite Blue. Sprite Blue will now get us Carrot, so we now end with both a monster and spell and trap negate. And now your board's the classic 5 wide. So you would now link these two.
And if you had attributed the Kisa kill before, you had linked with Gigantic, right?
Yes. And I'd probably just like have to use Carrot as the material then, but that's fine. Now you link making elf. No, you would actually link with the red that you've already used. Because you're going to reborn it with elf on the opponent's turn.
True, yeah.
So we would link here, get elf. Elf effect will summon back the pink. You link here, make Evil Kisa kill. She will summon back the blue. You're now locked into Fiends, by the way, so just making sure you don't mess up there. Lilla effect will return Kisa kill, and we will draw a card. Hopefully, in that drawing a card, we draw something like a secret password, so we can find the evil twin challenge. Or drawing a hand trap is also good. But I've talked up this challenge. What we do is now we just set challenge. So your end board would look like this with all of these monsters here. And
so
now
a monster negate and destroy, a pop, a draw card, and a spell negate and destroy.
And what I usually like to do is I use these very aggressively because the way I see it is the opponent has to fight through so much anyway that they're trying to save their last thing, but like you're gonna sort of drown them in cards anyway. So like they'll activate any monster effect. I will immediately tribute Lilla to negate it with red. If they have any spell and trap negate. And normally I would use Elf to bring back a copy of Jet or Blue, depending on what I think I might want. If I think I might need Smasher, is why I often go for Jet first. So I can like Smasher back on my turn. You get that. That's card advantage that you're going to be using for next turn. Uh, on res of the red effect, you should immediately activate Key Skill to bring back Lilla. Well, not immediately, I guess. You want to wait for your opponent to play any card. But if your opponent plays any card, you can just bring Lilla back, pop it. If they do anything here, you just tribute the key skill. Now you get to draw a card when you bring it back with Lilla. If they try and disrupt and like pop one of your twins, you can activate challenge, reborn the live twin Lilla, and then link into Trouble Sunny.
Or even if you've spent red already, you can use the Lilla, the red, and one of the evil twins to make Trouble Sunny.
Yeah, the actual cute one is you can also just link or do this, and you can actually link like this and make a second key skill if you just like don't have a way to put this in the graveyard immediately and you need an instant pop. You can just make a Lilla and Lilla will pop whatever's on board because you can still control a pink. Okay, that's that route. And again, you will like any hand of twin plus any sprite gets you there. Ideally, twin plus jet or twin plus blue. Although, still prefer jet. There's just so much versatility with jet. It's a good card. Starter's just so powerful. And summoning blue off of the gigantic usually feels like the best route for it. And like in post-board games, off a gigantic, you can just grab Ibly, and then like your opponent's kind of screwed if they're on uh, Synchro or Fusion deck. But yeah, that's the deck. I'd like to hear what people have to think about it. I've been again having some pretty decent success with it lately locally. Big fan of the archetype. Been playing Evil Twins for uh, well over what the past 6 months now.
Yeah, just about.
And yeah, a fan of the archetype and where the archetype's going forward. And you might want to move in on this one quick before the banning of Toad. It's like, it's going to happen. Like that card can't stay legal.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.